Welcome to the Hardcore Fab Shop. I'm Anthony Bronner, and on today's video, we are at part number 2 of our build series on the Jeep Rod. Now, if you guys haven't watched part number 1 yet, what the hell? Go watch that. I'll put you guys a link to it up here above because you're going to want to catch up on what it is that we're doing here, and then come right back to this video because we're going straight to work on this thing right now. Well, we've got a bunch of issues back here on the back of this thing solved and figured out now, but things keep snowballing and we just keep finding stuff. See that we've got some caps in here now on the ends of the tubes on the chassis. All the garbage cleans off the side of it. Got some fish plates made and stuck up there. Got the back part here done for a little cage, or it's almost done. Needs welded out a little bit more, but cage work done back here for the fuel cell. So now the fuel cell can go down in here and be kind of protected a little bit. Got one more tube that I want to put in from like here back to there to help give that a little bit more support there in case something was to run into the back of it. It'll also help make the whole frame and structure back here in the back a lot more structurally sound. So that's a definite must, I believe. And you can see now the track bar is off of there. It was here, so it's back over here now. That's kind of closer to where it actually needs to be. And you can also see that it was definitely too far out. It's right about there, straight up and down. So it was, you know, a good probably at least ½ inch or something like that to the one side too much. So that needs still to be mounted back up, but I think we're going to do that off of the side of the tube that comes over here and around. Just be real easy to put a couple brackets on there and make that right. I was hoping that we're going to be able to leave the mounts up here for the top of the coil springs that are back here on the back, but let me see if I can get you a better shot. You can see that one, that center pad, or the little tube here, is actually hanging over the side of the frame rail just a little bit on this side. We go over to the other side. This one has got quite a little bit of spacing there, so they're nowhere near close to being the same on either side. So since those aren't the same and we've got all these boogers all over everything here, I think it's time just to go ahead and cut those off, make a new mount there real quick. Then the last thing to look at over here is going to be our shocks. You can see on both sides they have a dent there in them because they were coming up here straight to the frame rail, and every time the suspension would cycle a little bit, they were hitting right here on the side. So that was binding. That's not going to work. So we ended up taking those loose, kind of moved them up into this area. It's going to allow them to cycle and not rub and bang on things. So we need to make a mount to come off of here and catch those as well. So that pretty well catches you guys up back here on the back. Still do have to also make some new brackets and stuff up here to mount those trailing arms going forward there. Then we get over here to the front axle, and this is a whole different story. I've been trying to save this thing. I keep hoping, try and figure out a way that I'm going to be able to do this, but I think I'm past that point now. So let me show you what's going on with it. Alright, so you guys already seen how janky the ends of these were here, but now that I've got it actually cut apart, you can see how thin that material is. That's super sketchy for something that's holding the whole front end of your vehicle in, especially not being any kind of good material either. So definitely a good thing that we're getting rid of those. Come up here to drag link going across here, and it's got some unusual things going on with it. You can see here where the threaded part is. That's been cut off something else and then welded on here onto more of this same thin walled like gas pipe or whatever that is, and that's like that on both sides. So that's a little crazy there. Don't feel comfortable leaving that on here and letting that go anywhere, so that has to come off. And then you can see here where the beautiful welds here are on this arm right here, and more thin walled gas pipe. Those were the pieces that actually go up here to the spindle. So come off of there, wherever, and yeah, cut and splice all that together with stuff that doesn't even fit, you know. So yeah, lots to be desired on all that. So I decided to check all that, of course, still trying to save this axle. And I went to the salvage yard. I figured out that this axle is off of a 49 to 54 Chevy. So there's that. And I found this piece here that would let us replace all of that with stuff that's not been cut and diced up and goobered back together. So I thought, okay, well, we'll be good now to try to save this axle, even though the axle's been hacked and whacked on a whole bunch. See where they've hacked on it there, and where they had it, you know, all up in there on both sides. I mean, yeah, I cut this bracket off, but I didn't actually take any material off the axle itself. So that was all like that before, but I thought, well, I can go in here and maybe I can weld up some of this and I can build a bracket that'll cover all of that and be able to support it all, even though there's some missing right there. So I thought it would be good there. So after sitting there doing that, I got to looking at it, and this thing has got a crazy bow in it I did not see to begin with. So that sucks. Let me find a straight edge and stick on there so you guys can see it a little better. So yeah, with the straight edge on there, you guys can see plain as day how bad that is. It's really, really nasty. I'm guessing that probably happened from all the cutting and welding that they did on it the first go around. I wish I would have caught that to begin with, but I did not. So it is what it is on that deal, and I've got to figure out a new game plan and direction on what we're doing there. So stay tuned to find out what that's going to be. And I guess with that, we need to get back to work on this thing. So I had to show you guys this real quick. Corey just got these off of here. You can see how badly those don't line up with each other. And then also, you can see the lack of penetration here on these welds had zero ability to hold that on. Getting a little bit of a cut here on the side and smack it with a hammer a couple times, it just fall right off. Crazy. And that is the reason why we're going over a bunch of this stuff and replacing everything that looks like it has those kinds of welds on it. Especially steering stuff, suspension stuff, that's all very bad to have on there. Alright, so with the springs actually mounted to the frame and to the rear end both, which it wasn't before, and now the shock's in there, I feel pretty comfortable about being able to take this track arm off and see what we've got to deal with here. Oh yeah, that is trashed. So besides the big gaping hole here, we've also got too small of a bolt in here, so that was part of our problem. But the fact that all the load was over here on this piece and it didn't have an extra bracket out here to be able to transfer that load back into the rest of the frame rail made a huge difference as well, and that's why you see so much damage here. It's had all that leverage pushing and pulling on that hole back and forth until it just ripped it all out. So we're going to have to address that. And also, you see there's no sleeve in here, so if you were to sit here and just keep tightening up this bolt, it's just going to compress this piece of square tubing until you crush it. So we need to put some kind of a sleeve in here so that when you do tighten up a bolt, it'll actually have something to tighten up against and not crush our square tubings. We don't know yet, but hopefully the other side isn't as bad as this side because it's not moving around as much as this side was. So if we get this figured out and get this fixed, the other side should be a breeze. I'm going to go ahead and knock out this panhard bar mount here and get the last tube in on the other side of the chassis, and then I'm going to call the back of the chassis of this thing done. So if you're ready to start seeing some sheet metal work come together on this thing, that's what our next video is going to be about. I'll put you guys a link to it up here as soon as it's ready. But until then, I'll put you guys another link down below here to one of our other videos on our channel, and I'll see you guys over on that video because this one is done. Thanks for watching.